So today we're going to do a follow-along warm-up that you guys can use. This is going to be focused for handstands, but it can be just used as a general warm-up or a morning routine as well. So first, touching the elbows and the forearms together, we're just going to make circles with the wrists and the hands, fingers interlocked. We can take them out here and start to go deviations. So you'll notice my arms are locked and I'm going back and forth. From here, just flexion and extension again with locked arms. Think about trying to cramp as you go down in the forearms and then really pulling the tops of your fingers back towards you at the top. From here, we're going to keep locking the elbows and almost trying to turn the elbow pits forward and up to the ceiling. And you're just going to scrunch your fingers together and then open them up as wide as you can, the whole time trying to pull your fingers back towards you or wrists into extension. You will be shocked at the forearm pump you'll probably get from this one. Let's shake that out, as I'm sure you have quite a forearm pump. Moving into elbow circles, I like to sort of throw my arms with this one and create a bit of elasticity. And the elbows may be a bit sensitive, so you might want to mind how aggressive you are with these. And now, bringing our hands to our shoulders, draw the biggest possible circles with your elbows. Really feel the scapula draw together in the back and then round as you reach forward. You'll notice I let my hands slide a bit. It's not absolutely important that you keep them glued to your shoulders. And now, using the hips to generate a little bit of a force, we swing the arms. Again, you'll notice a lot of shaking and swinging throughout the routine. This isn't an effort to also just not move so mechanically and allow the rest of your body to get into the groove. Try to catch the swing of the arm with a little bend in the knee. Feel the weight transfer into the ground and up again through your body. If you decide to track the arm with your eyes, that's fine. Or if you decide to look forward the whole time, that's okay too. Now we're going to come down to the floor and actually put some weight into the wrists. So we call these first knuckle push-ups. I have a separate video on these. I'll put that in the same link in the description. Press the palms away from the floor, but make sure to keep your elbows locked. It's okay if you can't do this in the beginning as much as you see me in the video. It takes a little bit of time. Now flipping the wrist back, peel away from the floor, starting with the furthest point of your palm, and allow the elbow to bend and the shoulder to come forward. A lot of times people just limit themselves because it feels a little unnatural, but if you allow that hand to peel away from the floor and feel the weight shift into your fingertips, you're going to get a really big stretch across the hand. Not a lot of people put time into their wrists, fingers, and hands. So of course you can expect some of these to be uncomfortable. For these reversed wrist push-ups, I like to cue people to imagine that they're gripping around a softball before they come up to the fists. So sort of pulling the fingers away from the ground. And then in this variation, I like to focus on locking the elbow by trapping down the hand, turning the elbow pit forward, and leaning over. You'll know right away if you're doing this well because you're either going to cramp on the underside of your forearm or you're going to get a really big stretch across the top. I know this might be painful in the beginning, but really try to lock that elbow. These loaded deviations are definitely something that people tend to skip over or ignore, but especially if you're going to be doing hand balancing, it's really important to address the tissues that are loaded in this motion. And now once we've warmed them up a good deal, we'll just try to roll them and place them in all different ways. So different positions, different orientations, and you'll notice I'm always rolling from the fingertips down to the palm. You can be really creative here, but you'll really find what feels best for you and go with that. Now we're going to add a little bit more weight here and perform some scap push-ups. So keeping the elbows locked, we're trying to touch the shoulder blades together and then push them away into protraction. If this is a little bit too heavy for you or your form's breaking down, start with the knees down. Everybody knows this one as sort of a cat-cow motion, but I just want you to think about a global extension and global flexion of the spine. If you want to try and roll it like a spinal wave, definitely extra bonus points there. But even if you're just going back and forth, we're getting most of what we need for this warm-up. I'm thinking about rolling one vertebrae at a time here from the top down. Now going into a bit more global shapes, just focusing on rotation. You'll notice I have my shoulder and head resting on the floor, and then I'm just opening and closing, sort of like a book. If you can exhale on that opening, you're definitely going to feel a bit more range of motion open up. This is one of my favorites, and I happen to get some really serious cracks when I get into this position, so you may experience that as well, but you don't have to push it really hard. Go to a range that's challenging, but you can still breathe. Now we'll go into some A-frame work. So some of you guys might see this as sort of like a down dog in yoga. I'm really just working on shifting my weight back, opening my shoulders, and then shifting down and forward to load my wrists a little bit. So if your heels go down, great. If they don't, no big deal. But I'm pushing away from the floor as I drive my chest to my feet, and then I'm pushing down into the floor as I lean forward and put all the weight into my hands. And now we're gonna tiptoe our fingers forward, keeping most of our weight back. So you'll notice my butt is kind of behind my knees here, and that hip angle is back so that I don't have all of my weight in my hands. You'll feel this under the arms, into the armpits, and through the lats a little bit. Once you flatten the hands, you might get a little more upper back stretch. I just like these openers before handstands because it's going to help me open up my line a little bit, even though that's not a major focus for me all the time, but it doesn't hurt to have good shoulder range of motion. Now we address the legs. So we want to make sure that the legs are springy, they're elastic, but they're also strong. So you'll actually find, because I'm not using a wall or anything here, that left leg is sort of dynamically stabilizing me as the other leg swings back and forth. Keep your knees locked on this one, but if you know you're really stiff, prioritize keeping the leg straight as opposed to kicking it up to your shoulder. Now we're going to move out, kicking across the frontal plane. Aim for the toes up as you go towards the ceiling. I like tasks that can throw me off balance so that I have to focus and really pay attention to what's going on. And now we're gonna lunge, place our hands, and lightly kick. The intention on the first few isn't really to make it up to handstand, but rather just to lunge, place some weight into your hands, and drive your hips out. So you'll notice on each rep, I'm getting a little bit higher, starting to stack my hips. If you can do this, great. If you need to keep it a few variations back, that's fine. Once you can start to catch the handstand, feel free to play with it. You're all done.